Thank you for coming today. I know it's mainly to see the Girl Scouts, but I hope to see me too. I'm well. I finally got well. Early in the morning, early Sunday morning at 1 o'clock, Reverend Wonder told you on February 12th, I caught the stomach flu from Linda. It's not her fault. It's everywhere. Linda got it first, and she had it way worse than I did, but at 1 in the morning, I suddenly got it. And we'll just leave it at that. We were so sick that for about 2 or 3 nights, Linda and I slept in the same bed, but we had a bucket in between us, just in case. And even after I was feeling better, I heard it's very contagious, really contagious, so I didn't want to come in. And then this weekend, Amber and Teague, my daughter-in-law Amber and my son Teague, they're expecting their second child in May. And their first child, Torin, is staying at our house this weekend. He was born on Gotane, so he's a very special Buddhist. They went on what millennials call a baby moon, So for the first time, Torin did a sleepover at our house, and everything's going great. But I just heard that Teague and Amber went to San Diego, and they texted us once they got there, and they're both really sick with the stomach flu. I know, but this is one of those stories 10 years from now, they'll tell the story how they went on this romantic vacation in San Diego. It wasn't so romantic. And then I wanted to let you know that Reverend Wonder today is at the Vista Buddhist Temple doing Dharma talk and leading service there. And our flowers are extra special this Sunday. Reverend Wonder brought them in, I think, on Friday. And Janet Arima, Janet Sakahara, and Karen Nakagiri put the flowers together and brought them out, and they're watered well. I also wanted to mention the Osanaye. I didn't bring apples this time. I decided I'm kind of hoping for warm weather, so I brought lemons and tangerines, citrus, hoping for warmer weather. And then on a very special place, we usually don't do this, I put out 2 boxes of Girl Scout cookies in honor of today. And the reason why we put out rice is because in Japan, that was a very rare, precious commodity. And so you're supposed to give something that really means a lot to you because you're receiving the Dharma, which really is valuable. So I put out Thin Mints. So, I mean, that's as high as you can get, I think. And then the other thing I wanted to mention, I won't be here next Sunday because I'll be at Vista leading their special service for Spring Ohigan. And it's going to be 3:12, right? 3:12. Do you know what 3:14 is? It's Pi Day. So I wore it's probably hard to see, but my daughter Emily bought me this tie. It's gray with black pi symbols all over it in honor of a very important Buddhist holiday. And the other thing I wanted to mention too is because Linda's watching Torin, her and Emily are at home right now watching on YouTube live, and they asked me what I was going to talk about, and I said, well, it's Girl Scout Sunday, so I'm going to talk about Girl Scouts. And I said, I think I'm going to talk about the importance of friendship, because usually for Scout Sunday, I usually talk about making a vow, the importance of a vow to get your silver or gold award. Another one is the badges. You get badges. And one time I made up, like if we had Buddhist Scouts, I tried to think of what badges would I give out. Like successfully chanted the Jusege all by yourself. That's a badge. Gashos properly. That's a badge. But this time I looked up Girl Scouts on the internet, and immediately all this stuff came up about friendship. So I told Emily and Linda I'm going to talk about friendship. And you know what they did? Without prompting, they immediately broke out into the Girl Scout song. Girl Scout friendship song. Linda and Emily were both Girl Scouts, and this song, I wrote down a couple. They broke out and said, you want to make new friends but keep the old. One is silver and the other is gold. So they went into this duet right in the middle of the kitchen, and I realized, this is a good topic, and it really is one of the main messages of the Girl Scouts. And the song they're going to sing today is called Come On In, which is this all-embracing, friendly attitude. So I think it's very poignant and telling that they would pick that song. So I wanted to start with this quote by the Buddha, and I've talked about that book, I Can't Believe It's Not Buddha, fake quotes in popular culture. This one's not fake. He really did say this. He said, friendship is actually the whole of the holy life. Friendship is everything in Buddhism. It's not 50%, it's not 25%. It's all of Buddhism from the Buddhist point of view. Having friends, practicing together, being part of a Sangha is the most important thing. So this is what I found on the internet. I always go to Google first. So I found this wonderful image of Girl Scouts, and I didn't know what this was called, but this is called the Friendship Circle, which, is like gasho, it's like bowing. It's a physical reenactment of this deep, important, emotional feeling. And it said, this is representing the unbroken chain of friendship among Girl Scouts and Girl Guides around the world. The Friendship Circle involves Girl Scouts standing in a circle, crossing their right arms over their left, and clasping hands with the friends on both sides. So I thought to myself, I got myself a topic. I'm in good shape. And it went on to say that the notion that friendship is magic is sweet, but did you know that it's also pretty accurate? Recent studies have shown that when your girl has a friend by her side, physical obstacles seem smaller and less daunting. She'll be motivated to work hard and aim higher. School transitions go a lot more smoothly when you have friends. Her stress levels go down and her general health improves. And physical or emotional pain feels a bit more manageable when you can share it with a friend. Given the benefits of friendship, here are 3 super simple ways you can help her find those friends and nourish meaningful relationships. Play dates, teach her empathy or compassion, and model and show her what friendship really looks like. So, this is a very important lesson, both in Girl Scouts, and of course, I'm going to pivot towards Buddhism now. There's a person I know who wanted a Dharma name. And I asked if I could get some phrases and words that might describe this person. And it's like a word cloud. And people often take me literally, and they go and they actually literally create a word cloud, right? Where the words get bigger, the more the word is used. But really, it's just words and phrases off the top of your head that capture the essence of the teachings and the meaning of this person's life. And you don't want to think about it too much. And it has to be specific, and it shouldn't always be complimentary. So Dharma names that are like nice smile, great personality, those are harder to do. But if you just kind of blurt it out, like a Rorschach test, they usually really reveal the person's character, their authentic true self. So these were some of the words that were used. A gentle caregiver, a peacemaker and a peacekeeper, generous, always put others first, non-confrontational, sensible, gentle, kind. Now, see, this is one that intense, right? I'm intense. I'm also hyper, but I don't want that to be my Dharma name. And tough, right? A good friend sometimes is tough. So these kind of words, tough, intense, maybe even demanding, are qualities of a true friend. So for this person, so also caring. So for this person, we chose the name Toku-yu. Toku-yu. And this character on the right, I checked it this morning on my iPhone. This is the character for Tomo, and Tomodachi. So I looked it up. Tomo is the Japanese pronunciation of this character. It means friend. And the dachi part, it said meant plural. I don't know if that's true, but that's what it said on the internet. So this is Tomo in Japanese, but the Chinese pronounce it you. And so the name we came up with for Toku means virtuous. So this person received the name a very virtuous friend who gives merit to everyone they meet. And I found out later that this term, a virtuous friend, is actually used a lot in the Buddhist sutras. So I felt good about that choice. So I wanted to read you a little bit of a story about the Buddha. A spiritual practitioner with good friends, companions, and associates can expect to be wise. And this came from a website that said 10 plus genuine Buddha quotes on friendship. You have to be really careful. Have a nice day. The Buddha never said that. He never said that. One of the main teachings about the value of friendship to be found in the scriptures recounts an incident where the Buddha's attendant, Meghiya, abandons the Buddha to go off meditating in the shade of a lovely mango grove he'd spotted. Now, I've only heard of Ananda as the Buddha's attendant, but the Buddha had many attendants, and they all got fired. I don't know. He went through lots of attendants, and when he landed on Ananda, Ananda was his attendant from 45 to 80, from 55 to 80 for 25 years. So it says here, for obvious reasons, Meghiya was not the Buddha's attendant for long. Meghiya apparently expects that he's going to have a great meditation in his beautiful mango grove by himself, but instead he's assailed by distractions. When he comes back to the Buddha with his tail between his legs, the Buddha gives him an extensive teachings on the ways that friendship is a support in the spiritual life. So this idea that, you should go away on your own, by yourself, and practice Buddhism in isolation is not even true for monastics, right? It's a group activity. You practice as a team. No one's left behind. I mean, you all realize awakening, or no one does. And then there's this Sanskrit term, Kalyana Mitra. Kalyana Mitra. It's the Buddhist concept of admirable friendship within Buddhist community life. And it says here, applicable to both monastic and householder relationships. So we're a householder school of Buddhism. There's two major branches of Buddhism, and they've always existed. There's the monastic path, and then there's the path for householders like us. And they're equal and somewhat separate. But the householder path has kind of been deprecated, and it's kind of been underemphasized and hasn't received as much attention as the monastic path. And there's probably two reasons for that. Americans are kind of looking for gurus and superheroes. And the other thing is the monastics are the ones that wrote all the texts. And so they lean heavily into a monastic interpretation or emphasis. And so, this is something that I think maybe we need to lean into, that this non-monastic householder path is a very important aspect of Buddhist practice, and it's always been so. So I wanted to share this conversation with you. It goes a lot better between Ananda and the Buddha than it did with the Buddha and Meghiya. There's a conversation between the Buddha and his disciple Ananda, in which Ananda enthusiastically declares, friendship is half the holy life. Admirable friends, admirable companionship, admirable camaraderie is half the holy life. And Ananda is super happy that he's made this breakthrough and he's made this insight. Now, historians say that when you read a quote from the sutras, if the Buddha is ethereal, bigger than life, cosmic, perfect, it's likely not historically true. Now, it's spiritually true, and it has deep meaning, but it likely didn't happen verbatim. So there's kind of a debate with scholars. Some think that everything in the sutras is not verbatim or historical, and there's some that think it's all historical. But I kind of like the middle way, where if the Buddha seems kind of down to earth and realistic, and maybe not perfect in every way, and in this quote, he's kind of harsh to Ananda, I would say this quote is historically accurate, because I think you're seeing the Buddha get a little bit frustrated with Ananda as a good friend and a teacher. He kind of snaps at him. And when you see these kind of quotes, you might want to pause for a minute and say, this probably is a literal, authentic quote, the actual words of the Buddha. So the Buddha replies to Ananda, don't say that, Ananda. Don't say that. Don't ever say that. Admirable friendship, admirable companionship, admirable camaraderie is actually the whole of the holy life. When a monk has admirable people as friends, companions, and comrades, they can expect to develop and pursue the noble eightfold path. So that's one of my favorite quotes. I think I'm very lucky to have so many good friends and had so much support from the Sangha at OCBC, right? You know, like when I first came here, I was looking for a teacher, a guru, and what I found was a Sangha. And I've mentioned before that there's kind of a debate, which is more important? Is it, we read the three treasures. Is it the Buddha, is it the Dharma, or is it the Sangha? And of course, when I first came here, I was positive it was a historical Buddha. He's the founder. And then from Dr. Haneda, I thought it was the Dharma, listening to the teachings. But after COVID, I really think it's the Sangha. I mean, that's where the Buddha and the Dharma come alive, and it's something lived. So this is the way they define this Kalyana Mitra. They are a helper and a protector. They're an enduring friend through good times and bad. They're a wise advisor. They're a loyal and compassionate friend. So, this is a big deal in Buddhism, and all these things are doable, right? These are things that we could do as householders. This is something practical that you could practice at school with friends. You could stand up to bullies. You could help people that are the underdog. This is something you can actually do. I took a personality test once, and they're all complimentary, I think. They're like horoscopes. Every time you read a horoscope, you go, yeah, that's me. I'm funny and friendly, and they're all very complimentary. And somebody who debunks, someone who debunked this type of thing, magical thinking. He went into a classroom, and he gave everybody their horoscope, and they had him read it, and everybody agreed that that was exactly who they were, and they couldn't believe how accurate it was. And so he said, I want you to all pass your paper to the left. And then everybody realized they all had the same horoscope. He gave everybody the same horoscope. And then in our tradition, we have something called the Zenjishiki. This is kind of a big deal, the spiritual friend, somebody who's a friend on the path. And Shinran says, it's difficult to meet true teachers and difficult for them to instruct. It is difficult to hear the teachings well and more difficult still to accept them. This verse celebrates a well-known and often quoted passage in the larger sutra. The teacher is a good and virtuous friend, a Zenjishiki, a Kalyana Mitra, someone who brings the Dharma to life for us in their own person. A Zenjishiki is someone we know that we can trust in spiritual matters, a person who enriches our heart. Such people inspire and encourage not so much by learning or authority as by their mere presence, their wholehearted attunement to the Dharma that one seeks. Acceding to the authority of a teacher is held in reserve, and we are never expected to suspend our judgment or common sense. They are more of an inspiration rather than an authority figure. So this is really the way Jodo Shinshu works. We're on the path together. Jodo Shinshu ministers are more of a guide. We're more guides than a guru. We kind of show you where the bumpers are and what to be aware of, but we all kind of go together, we all learn together, and we all share together. I went to a seminar, I might have mentioned this to you. We have continuing education as ministers, just like lawyers and dental hygienists and physician's assistant. So we went to this, and the person we heard speak was the Reverend Harada of Tendai, American Tendai Buddhism. And Tendai is where Shinran came out of, Honen, Dogen. So Tendai bled out a bunch of very famous Buddhist founders of new schools in Japanese Buddhism. And he spoke to us. He was an American. He spoke English. And he was the bishop of American Tendai. And it was kind of funny. He said he really didn't know much about Shinran. And we were all aghast. How could you know? Oh my gosh. I clutched my pearls. I said, oh my God, how could you not know about Shinran? But each school emphasizes their own founders and their own teachers. But I learned a lot from him. I thought it was really, really interesting. And he was actually proud of their coaching tree. Like, instead of saying, we lost these all-stars, right? We lost Shinran, we lost Honan, we lost Dogen. They were really proud that their coaching tree gave birth to these great teachers that came out of their tradition. They took a lot of pride in it. So at the end, we got to ask him questions. And one of us gave him a softball question, like, what do you think about American Buddhism? And it was a softball. And we thought he was going to say, you're doing great. American Buddha's great. There's a bright future. All the ministers are great. We thought it would be very enthusiastic and uplifting. And I don't know. I think we were fishing for compliments. But you know what he said? He said he's very concerned about American Buddhism. He doesn't have a lot of hope right now. And he said the reason why is that Americans still don't really appreciate the importance of Sangha. And this is coming from a monastic Tendai, that we don't care much about Sangha. We want to read books at night and alone. This is called nightstand Buddhists. But we rarely go and practice and find a Sangha. And so, this is actually, I think, our wheelhouse. If you did a SWOT, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, our strength is, and our trademark, our brand, is the importance of Sangha. So, I was thinking maybe we really need to lean into that. That's what American Buddhists really need. They can get meditation anywhere, right? They can buy books anywhere. But to really be part of a practicing and healthy and dynamic Sangha, where you have a community that you're safe and you're seen and you're welcome just as you are, that's relatively unique. And that's something that we need to message. There's a need for it, a serious need, not just for our own tradition, but for American Buddhism as well. So I want to thank the Girl Scouts for helping me find this very important topic, both in scouting and in Jodo Shinshu. So I learned a lot from making this talk. I can be a friend. I can do that. I can be a Buddhist. So please join me in Gassho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Naman Da Butsu. Naman Da Butsu. Naman Da Butsu. Thank you very much.